Hi, my name's Kate England. Welcome back and thank you for tuning in once again. So today I really wanted to look at the structure of what is there for us as carers, supporters, as family members of our veteran that is in need of either physical or mental health or a mixture of the two's support from the NHS. Stroke what I believe should be a crossover with the MOD, but that is another subject for another day, and what that looks like. So currently on the NHS webpage, if you click on or Google in regards to NHS England Armed Forces, you will find, and I'm going to bring this up for myself so because I don't want to be referred to as getting it wrong. Healthcare for the armed forces and community, mental health support, veteran service leaders, non-mobilised service reservists, information support for families, the NHS guides, charity support groups, step-by-step guide for service leavers, and accessing NHS healthcare while in active service. Now, not all those are relevant to the veteran, but what is relevant to us is information and support for families. Now, if you click on that link, you will find you actually get re-referred to healthcare for armed forces, health support for serving personnel, healthcare and for armed forces veterans, mental health support for veterans. And then it goes on to accessing healthcare for armed forces families, GPs, Reginald Yardwood GP, but actually all that relevance is to serving. Very much like the Armed Forces Covenant, it does not support the veteran family or the veteran carer. Very woke in that department. Leaves far too much to the imagination of ICBs, GPs, different health trusts to what actually they need to provide and what should be there. Well, namely, very little, to be quite honest. I am an active governor of Oxford Health Foundation Trust, who are actively trying to support and create more information share for the veteran carer. And we actually have a webpage which I shared previously on a previous episode, so you can find it there. And it's something I want to actively encourage other trusts to do, and that includes our other trusts in Oxfordshire, Oxford University Hospitals. So shout out to them if they're listening. You need to do much more for your veteran carers and family members. So what does this mean? It means that we're left out again. It means that we are overseen and we're not seen, we're not listened to. And it also means actually there's a lack of information for the professionals in regards to what it looks like for us, which again, we are hoping to OHFT on our Veterans Carers webpage to actively use that not only for the carers, but actually a source of reference and information for professionals within trusts and professionals within other trusts. So what do we need? Well, we need trusts, ICBs. And if you don't know what an ICB is an integrated care board. So they recently came into existence within the last year. And what they have done is they have amalgamated several areas into one funding group. So what they used to be known was as our CCGs. And so basically they fund everything within your areas, from GP surgery, trusts, CHC, numerous different things. If you Google them, you'll be able to find all that information on them. So that's where we are with that. What we need is we need to stand together, and we need to politely inform the ICBs, the GP surgeries, the health trusts, actually that we're there, and actually that we need a point of reference. We need to know what is out there, what we should know, and that actually we're not alone, because I don't know about you, I have found myself very much alone until I found my own community. And that was a hard process because at the time, my husband, although very poorly now still, was horrendously poorly and actually was sectioned. And I didn't know what way was up at the time. And although people wanted to help by helping us with food, etc., more to take the pressure off because I have young children back then, but actually mentally to know what to do best for my husband and what was out there, I had to learn very sharply, and that was only via professionals, very few professionals that knew the systems and knew where I should be heading to or who I should be speaking to. So it was a bit of a lottery, really. My whole experience has been a lottery. Sometimes I've won. Primarily I've lost, and my husband has lost considerably. By what I would say I blame myself a lot for not knowing processes at the time, by not knowing policy, by not knowing what was available, and by not, to a certain extent, harassing people, professionals into the ground to see if my husband qualified for certain things. But at the same time, I was drowning slightly, and I was still having to keep my family afloat and surviving and keep my smile on my face. I think I've got quite a few wrinkles along the line and my grey hair is absolutely shining through, but I swear that is just stress. I think I've got good genes. So yes, we need more from our healthcare trusts, from NHS England Armed Forces. And also, that is another thing I can put on the end of this podcast, is the emails and the direction of where we need to focus our efforts. Because only then, when we are recognised, when we can show the cracks, the holes, how the system primarily fails for us as carers, and ultimately how that ends up failing the person we're caring for and our wider family, we need to make our voices heard. So I'm going to put lots and lots of different emails at the emails addresses at the end of this podcast. And it's not, I have harassed people quite a lot in my time, but primarily now for me, it's about being firm, it's about being honest, and it's about being direct and actually being heard, having a voice. And I think we can do that together, because this can't be done by one person. This has to be done by a community. It has to be done with a loud voice. And that only happens when we stand together. And so I hope this podcast has really been about unity and about finding community and finding hope from that community. And also, we are a tremendous reference book all by itself. Individually, we have so much knowledge about this different systems in regards to our veteran and their needs and how they fit within systems, but also about how we can access things for us also, and our children, which are hugely important in all this, but seem to be little considered by government, by NHS, by, I'm going to say social services, big bomb. But we need to be more focused for us, for them, because without us, the whole thing goes. And I think I've said this before, that without us, the whole thing fails. And ultimately, that's what will cause our family structures to fail, our ourselves. I mean, there's only so much pressure you can take, or one person can take, a community can take before they start to fail. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to put lots of links down on the end of this. And I'm also going to put the letter I previously referenced to use within NHS services, or your GP or so forth. So you have a right to be within appointments. So you have a right to take information for your carer, to put across information, to speak on their behalf. So I'll put that letter. But ultimately, guys, I think, and everybody needs this, we all need a power of attorney. And this is for ultimate, this isn't about taking people's power away from them. It just means when people are poorly, that actually we can be their voice, we can advocate for them. And I'd like, if I was in that position, I would also, and I'm actually doing a power of attorney for myself, that you can advocate for them, because professionals, you know, they're fantastic. They do years of training, lived experience within their professions, but actually ultimately they don't know your lived experience. They don't know your veterans' lived experience. They definitely don't know your family's lived experience. So you need to be able to advocate for them without burning yourself out, without having to scream and still not get anywhere. So I'll put all those links on the bottom. I hope you've enjoyed me talking again. I really hate hearing my own voice, but I feel this space needs to be advocated for. And I would love somebody else to be advocating on this channel also, if they felt brave enough to tell us all about them and about how that looks. And I'm actually, in my next podcast, going to talk about the American system and how that looks, and how that maybe better works as a carer for the veteran, and how they better prep their carers. So I will share that. And actually, I was sent something by a friend which I will share pre-podcast so everyone can look at it beforehand. Anyway, I've gone on far too much, and I'll say goodbye. See you next time.